Hey everyone, how we doing today? This is James Sweeney, aka SplitSuit, and welcome back to another video. And as part of the Ask SplitSuit a Question series, a bunch of people asked hand history questions. This one actually came privately via Facebook, and Manuel just wants me to check out this tournament hand. So let's look at it. Okay, so in this hand, the blinds are 500, 1000. We have 24k to start. Here decides to open from early position. Totally standard, size-wise, a little bit large for a tournament. Usually something like 2.5x is a bit more typical, but I'm not going to say too much about this. Folds around to the small blind, who decides to go for a min 3-bet, and here we are. So in this exact hand, Manuel decides to call, and he says he called because he was concerned he could be up against a hand like jacks. So in the write-up that Manuel sent in with this hand, there really wasn't any further thought about preflop. It was just, I called because I was concerned I could be up against a hand like jacks. Okay, fair, I guess. But I still always like to at least consider going for a shove in a situation like this. And it's a situation where I'm probably never really going to fold ace king. I'm getting a great price, so if nothing else, I'm going to call. But I definitely at least consider going for the shove. And to consider that, or at least to proof it mathematically, we can use a fold equity calculator. This is one that is available on my training site, redchippoker.com. I will leave a link for it in the description box, but I also suggest you bookmark it because this is the kind of tool that you can use consistently when you're doing semi-bluff math, when you're doing preflop shoving math, all that kind of stuff. Really, really easy tool. Just needs a couple of different inputs in order to get us an answer that we can use. So let's start banging through it. So right this moment, what is the pot size before we shove? Well, that's easy, 9,000. Plug that in, boom, 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 boom. How much do we have to call? Well, we just need to call 2,000 more, so just plug that in, boom, 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 boom. How much are we shoving for total? Well, we'd be putting in another 2,000 to match his 5, and then his effective stack of 12, since he has the smallest of the stacks involved. 12 plus 2 equals 14. Boom, 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 boom. And our estimated equity. Well, we can get that using a tool like Equilab, which is pretty simple. Plug in our hole cards. And then let's assign a range for villain. And this is the range of hands that he would min 3-bet us with and call our shove with. Now let's just give a really tight range at first. Say jacks plus ace king. Say that's pretty fair. Evaluate it. Notice that we have 40% equity. Boom, boom. And you notice that at this point, this is a break-even shove. Okay, so that means that if he shoves, or if he 3-bets and calls our shove any wider at all, this is going to be profitable, right? Even if we just add a little bit of combo, say 10s and ace queen suited. Say that's all we added. Notice our equity jumps up to 43, boom, boom. And all of a sudden, with this number being negative, it means this is a profitable shove. So as long as you think that his 3-bet range isn't just like the super nuts, this looks like a good shove to me. Whereas you could call and then put yourself in a 1 SPR pot, but I would probably prefer to shove, honestly. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily going to be a ton of fold equity here, simply because why would this person make this kind of play and put in such a large chunk of their stack if there were fold equity? I'm not sure. But this is just the kind of situation where I'm just going to rip it. He didn't start the hand with that many big blinds. It's only 17 effective to start. I'm just going to rip it in here and feel pretty comfortable about it, as opposed to flatting and having to go forward. But all of that being said, let's check out the rest of the hand as played by Manuel. So he decides to call preflop, goes here, faces a $1,000 bet, and getting 12 to 1, he just decides to call. And this is one where I get it, you're confused. I don't really understand what the heck this min 3-bet and then super small bet is. Could it be aces? Sure. Could it be somebody that has no idea what to do? Sure. So I don't know. I'm not really panicked about this being a huge hand. And honestly, I'd probably consider shoving here as well to see if there's any fold equity against something like ace king, like the same. If I get the same hand to fold, I'm super thrilled about that while picking up 12K. I'm really stoked about that. So I honestly probably just rip it here as opposed to flat, because what are you going to do, right? You're probably going to flat. If he made this stupidly sized bet on the flop, he's probably going to do something similar on the turn. Maybe he bets 1,500 or 2K on the turn. You're going to be getting another sick price. You're probably going to call that. And then what's going to happen on the river? Again, you need to be thinking ahead in this situation. It's not just oh, I'm calling $1,000 once. It's no, there's still 2 more streets left. Given what he's doing so far, we can probably anticipate him doing more of this in the future. And you either need to be prepared to call off 5K, 1,000 here, 1,000 there, few on the river, or maybe like one here, 2.5 on the turn, and then maybe something similar on the river. Like, we're not just putting $1,000 into this pot. So just be aware of that and have that plan going forward. And again, if he has something like ace king and you think you can rip it here and get him to fold it, like, I'm super happy about that too. So queen on the turn. Bets another 1,000. Again, not super shocked about this, because if someone's going to do this min 3-bet pre, super small bet on the flop, I'm really not shocked to see it happen again on the turn. Here decides to call again, because again, he's getting a great price. Really can't blame him, getting 14-1. Calls. River is another 5, and this time we face some silly size bet of 39.54. Okay, so at this point in the hand, Manuel says, I tanked and decided to fold, going with my preflop read that he had a pocket pair. And my main question to that is going to be this. If he had a pocket pair, and you said preflop, maybe he had something like jacks, or which I assume means you probably think he has jacks plus, maybe he has something like tens, I don't know. But if he had one of those big pairs, wouldn't he have tried to go all in at some point, or get his entire stack in at some point? I think it's a better way of saying it. And I think that's probably pretty fair to say, right? I mean, if he had kings, would he really just want to get this much of a stack inside? Considering he started with 17 big blinds, like, I just don't see that. I see bigger bets somewhere along the line. Maybe instead of betting 1,000 on the flop and turn, maybe he bets 2,500 on both streets. So he sets it up for a super easy river shove. Like, this line just makes no damn sense to me. So I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me that he has that a ton of the time. Could he? Sure. Could he also be being silly with ace king? Sure. Could he have a queen? I don't know. Just ultimately, I don't know what the heck this guy has. I'm getting another pretty good price on the river at roughly 5-1. I mean, I understand why you folded, but by the same token, I don't think that you should, but I also don't think you should get here. Again, I think the pre-flop shove is going to be fine. I think that as played, the flop shove is going to be really good. I just don't see making this play. Now, there is more to this hand, believe it or not. So here it is fold. But he folded his hand face up, and after he did that, the small blind decided to show his hand face up. And Manuel said that he felt kind of like an idiot, and then asked where did he go wrong. So first of all, don't feel like an idiot. We all misplay hands. We all do silly things from time to time. Don't panic about it. It's built into this game. We're all going to make mistakes. Don't worry. What did you do wrong? Pre-flop, I think you didn't shove. That's the issue. 2 is you didn't shove the flop. I think that's kind of an issue, just given the size. I don't think this is someone who wants to stack it off. The other thing you did wrong is on the river, not even the fold. I'm just going to ignore the fold for a moment, because again, like, I don't get to a situation where I am able to fold the river in this hand, just because I don't get to the river like that. But let's just say that I did. I just don't ever show my hand face up. Because when you show your hand face up, you're giving your opponent free information. You're giving your opponent information that you don't 4-bet rip it pre-flop with ace king, that all you did was go call, fold post-flop when you didn't improve with anything. Like, those are really, really big nuggets of information that you do not ever want to give away for free. I mean, yes, it's cool you got the small blind to show you his hand, but it's infinitely more important that you hide your own information and aren't just giving information away like that for free, because that's going to cost you in the long run, especially when you're playing against good players. Not necessarily that the small blind's a good player, but other people at the table could be aware enough to understand a little bit more about your strategy and use that against you in the future, and I don't want to see that happen to you. And funnily enough, seeing a hand like this means that there was probably a huge grip of fold equity pre-flop, or that maybe he calls it off with 8-6 suited and then our equity just boosts through the roof. So again, gives even more validity to that pre-flop shove rather than just calling the min 3 bets. So Manuel, thanks for the great hand, and if you or anyone else has a poker related hand or question, feel free to leave it on our Google Plus page. Leave a link for that in the description box, and also please make sure to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this type of video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to let me know. Otherwise, good luck out there and happy grinding.